One of the things I get asked the most is how to shoot good pictures. And if you would like to take shots like this, I'll try to get you some good advices. Here's some 5 good advices on how to improve your aquarium photography. Tip number 1 is to use the right gear. And if you're looking for a kind of video where I will tell you that modern days smartphones are just good enough to shoot high quality photos, you haven't found the right video, because my top 1 tip is to use the right gear, and that is a modern DSLR camera. Could be DSLR or mirrorless. I'm using this Canon 6D, which is a actually relatively old camera, but it just takes really good pictures. It really sucks on video, so I'm kind of switching for Canon 90D, but for photos this it can only be beaten by a few really good cameras. For doing better aquarium photography, having a system camera like this or a cheaper system camera is very crucial. And the main reason for that is to be able to control it manually. You can do that by adjusting the manual settings, and that is very crucial. And one of the main features with a DSLR camera or mirrorless is that you can change the lens, and the right gear for me also includes a macro lens, which enables you to shoot those very close-up shots. Take a shot very close to the subject and still being sharp, and you can't really do that with just the normal kit lens, so you will need a macro. I'm using a Tokina 100mm. That's one of the cheaper ones. I've also previously used the original Canon macro. That is better, it's faster, but also more expensive. Upgrading your gear to a system camera like this will do the biggest single difference for your photography, and updating the kit lens or the standard lens that comes with the camera to a macro will definitely do the second most important difference in your photography. Tip number 2 is to go manually, to control your camera manually and learn that. And that is a skill you need to learn, because if you will just go on auto on your camera, that won't really help you, because often a camera like this will measure the lights and mismeasure the way you should take the photo, and controlling the manual system will improve your ability to shoot the shots you want. So always go manually, and that can be kind of tricky for the start, because it gives you a lot of choices, obviously, but sitting down and learning that will definitely help you. And to get started, you can the best way is to just practice and learn how, according to your light and your settings on Aquarium, you will quickly learn what kind of fits your tank, and in most cases you can actually go by that. I'm shooting most of my shots with kind of the same settings, with the shutter speed of 160 of a second, I guess it is. And what that means is how fast the shutter will close and open, and you need to have it on at least 125, in my opinion. That's the lowest you can go and still get sharp shots of your fish in your tanks on moving targets. So sometimes when you have really fast moving fish, you'll need to dial it up and do it even faster. But in most cases you can go with that. And then you have the aperture, which is the kind of the hole, how big and that will open, and that is the aperture. And you can, depending on your lens, that one controls how far down you can get. But if you go very long way down, that's the widest open your aperture can get. That would give you a lot of light, but not so much depth of field, and that will kind of remove the background and make that blurry. And that can be a good effect, especially if you're doing portraits or something like that. But it can be a little bit tricky to kind of catch a fish with such a low aperture. So I will, in most cases, go 3, 5 or 4. That also increase the sharpness on most lenses in a way. So, and the last thing is the ISO. I would suggest you find yourself a good setting. This is kind of a good one for my tank, and as mentioned before, I'm taking most of my shots with these settings. So tip number 3 is to learn basic composition. And if you are already doing aquascaping, some of those tips and doing composition in a photography kind of comes naturally, because yes, as you're doing when you're aquascaping, you also compositioning the aquascape, and that's kind of the same way you do with a photo. You make the composition choices and you move around, and there's a lot of compositioning strategies when it comes to doing photos and photography. I am always using these kind of, you can, on this camera you can turn on these lines, and that's used for a rule called rule of thirds, and that's kind of, yeah, most of aquascapers is familiar with the rule of thirds, and so it's, I won't go deeply into that, but it's kind of, you need to place the most important things in where these lines meet, and that's kind of the rule of thirds. And sometimes you're placing it right there. You can even see in my tank here that this root is placed in the rule of thirds. And also another key way to composition on a photo is the center. Sometimes it's good to place the fish right in center. That's kind of very, very effectful, and other times it's even more effectful to place it other places. So tip number 4 is simply to do practice, and that can sound obvious, but But as with most things in life, actually, succeeding comes with practice. And that's also the case here when it comes to shooting fish and doing aquarium photography. Practice is simply a good way to start. A Danish photographer, Per Folkvar, has said that a good photographer consists of 5% talent, 45% hard work, and 50% failures. And that's kind of also the experience when it comes to my shooting. Often I'm taking hundreds of shots and only using a few of them. So it comes with practice, and even after a lot of years you still need to take a lot of shots of the fish to get that perfect one you want. So that's also always a lot of failures and a lot of practice on the way, and you need to do that to get those shots. And sometimes you'll get a lot of blurry ones. Sometimes you'll have them with the sharpness in the wrong position of the fish, and even sometimes you can't really find that good setting. Sometimes your pictures get blurry and so on. And the last tip is patience, and I think that's really an underestimated skill in modern day's life, and it is as well when it comes to photography on aquariums. And patience is really crucial to take good shots, because you need to sometimes sit and wait. Sometimes I'm waiting months to take the right shot. Sometimes fish have like some fins they can raise, or a color they can put on when the circumstances is right. And sometimes I'm waiting months to see the fish doing the right thing I want to do. And sometimes I'm also, when I'm getting a fish, I'm seeing it and I think I want a shot of this fish just right there, with this composition and placed in this certain area, and then I'm waiting like months to get that fish placed right there. So yeah, that can take some time, and you need to have patience to find that sometimes. And sometimes I'm sitting hours in front of the aquarium to have the fish moving around the right way, or doing it the right way, or showing the right colors at the right time. So yeah, that takes some time sometimes. Yes, that was kind of the top 5 tips I have for better photography on your aquariums and fish. And if you have any questions, please drop a comment or write me a message on Instagram or something. You're welcome to do that. That's it. Bye.